Thank goodness it's being recorded. Hi. Hi. This is Joanna, Early Morning Ascension Show. We're going to talk about so much today. So for those of you that are really excited to learn something new, get down your notebooks. We're going to talk about the biosphere, which is really, really important for all of ascension. It cannot not be. How important it is to activating and harmonizing with the biosphere. It can allow you to create so much within yourself, remembrances of who you have been in other timelines. It helps heal the soul fragment aspects that are coming in as you go through those releases throughout your process of ascension. When we have those really deep releases and it feels like dark night of the soul, those are because there's timelines and lifetimes and soul fragments that really require your acknowledgement and your anticipation of your full unconditional radical self-acceptance. And those can be healed in a great way and really bringing back the sacred geometry of oneness and the sacred geometry of how all things in creation, all aspects of creation are assisting you in becoming more whole. And so just before we got on, there's been so many incredible activations I've been going through. So I'm able to see and sense and read energy and channel energy in brand new ways. So I'm really, really excited to remember myself as one with all that is spirit and all of the veils that are being lifted right now. It's so incredible. And to see all of the beings from the multidimensional places that I used to just channel from on the vibrational level, I'm now being able to see them on the different vibrational realms. And I've seen, of course, many beings because I've drawn them and I've written about them and I see them. But how I'm seeing it now is a reality experience, which means that the whole reality is showing before me. It's like the veil of, you know, just like we've said, going into the mall, we're going into every little store. And so every little store is that version of the veil that you're creating. So it's really incredible. And while we've said before in our offerings, oh yeah, if you, I always forget to say this, welcome to our Ascension channel. For those of you that would like to like and subscribe, buttons are below. And also too, we have our donation buttons below. Hello. Hello. We're going to talk about having fun with Gaia. We're going to talk about having fun with the biosphere of Gaia. And I can't, for some reason, where's my great little diagram that I've been missing? I've had some explorations of my books and my things. Oh, there it is. Explorations. The many different earths that we all belong to. All of my books. So in any moment that you're in this now moment and you're releasing the densities and the stories, the vibrational stories that keep you held in limitation, lack, or fear, and you're releasing those fear experiences, you just know that you're an infinite being of light. You're allowing yourself to experience whatever veil that is ready to be lifted. And that veil in all moments, every moment, is a changing earth experience, you know, based on a lot of the most simple and divine things, which is joy, excitement, beauty, adventure of who you are as spirit, the joy of spirit. All of those vibrations help you to align to that highest experience for the highest and for the greatest good. So that's why being in the present moment of now and just exploring yourself as joy, exploring yourself as vibrational excitement and discovery, every moment that those veils are being taken from us, the densities of our collective, and why we've seen so many things that unfold that are showing us the experience of our values that we used to hold, which now need to really be looked at for rediscovery of who we are as the one. When we're going through, we see as a collective all of these varying changes. They're going on at such a rapid pace now because one, our planetary alignment. Our planetary alignment is many things. Planetary alignment is the consciousness of the collective is now growing and expanding. As our collective grows in consciousness, the collective consciousness vibration, the light quotient as a collective that we hold and carry, is accelerating. And so thus then, those within our circles are also being activated to accelerate and carry on and remember who they are as light. once their cells in their bodies and their fields get activated, they start seeking more information. They start seeking within themselves. They start seeking more on their planet. They're starting to create these experiences that offer greater light. The more excited you are to be here, the more excited you are to be you, you're creating greater light and you're offering it. Therefore, the collective consciousness as a whole begins to operate in different ways. And so the teams and all of the heavenly councils are doing so much, and there's so much being offered now of different light assimilation packages. And you can just ask your teams when you're at nighttime. I really focus on this, and throughout the day, of course, on just like calling in those assimilation packages to just assimilate whatever light is needed for you at that time to assimilate you into a new version of you, of your desire. So it could be greater health. You know, I want to wake up and feel more quick to think, you know, a quick thinking experience. You want your mind to react quicker. And then before you do so, make sure that you're doing that release to release any mental programs that are ready to be released, any limitation of thought. There's so much. We'll do two sections. This first section is to understand that you and your health in your body is manifested and adjusted by you. The more that you're not in tune and directing your bodies and your fields in your health and awareness of who you are as a you're basically channeling from your 3D body 4D to your 5D body. You're channeling it. Your higher self and your soul and all of your healing teams are channeling you to move into your higher self body. And so that means it's carrying greater light. It obviously will go a lot better and a lot more fun if you have a directorship of it, the sovereignty of it. And so spend time throughout your day, and they've offered this to me as well, is that as we're accelerating, we'll need greater time with rest, really getting rid of the things that you don't need to do, that you've just packed your schedule with for routines, because we're learning how to become 5D, and it's not anything like what it was with 3D. So that means that we'll have to look and rework at communal living, reorganizing our day, releasing jobs and obligations and things that don't feel present, and allow you that presence of moment and that joy of spirit. And so really taking a look at those things each and every day to how you can release it and do more that is joyful, creative, and in alignment of living in the earth and of the earth and as your spirit, as your body. Because that's how you're going to be harmonizing into greater light. You can't harmonize into greater light if you're packed in a routine that just won't allow you to explore who you are as spirit. And your light requires that you take care of it. Like the most that they've been showing me is really look at your epicenter of light as valuable and divine and sacred, and that it's worthy of your nourishment, your time, your care, your understanding. You're working with it. Working with it's a tool. You are your tool of your greatest manifestation, because you are manifesting everything in the outside. So we should take the highest care in it. Your time and your energy is very, very valuable. So they've been, reworking all of these ideals with me so that I'm stepping into this more of alignment of who I am becoming as an earth star mother and a star mother, so that I'm absolutely being the capacity of honoring my light and my energy as, that sacredness of who I am, and emulating and radiating in a much different way than I was a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and really allowing that maximum capacity of how I'm spending my time, who and how I'm investing in, and all of those, because it's that light quotient in, light quotient out. And it must be fair and reciprocal. It must be honored at the same reciprocal value. I must have a certain amount of time with Gaia. I must be connecting with the teams and the councils, because it all, again, it depends on what you're excited to do and what your role is here. So obviously, if the greater role that you think you will have and you want to play, and you're working through your densities and you're constantly in that communion with spirit of wanting to have greater play with the collective and the Gaia experience through ascension, then spirit will give you equal opportunity as you're putting in equal work. And so that's always been the way, right? But you do have to go through the spiritual tests. The spiritual tests are always going to allow creation and all of the teams and all the councils that are working with humanity for ascension, working with the planet for ascension, because you're linked, that part of you is linked with also many aspects of you that are on other planets and other galaxies and other sections of space, if you will, that are responsible for certain things in space. And so your excitements here are directly related to some, they play off, if you will, because that's the thread of connection. That's the thread of your excitement. That's the thread of why your soul is here. Your soul may have that undertone vibration of ecology, water and plant life. So that will be an excitement that you'll carry in this timeline that you get to explore. And you'll have to use your right use of will and the right use of power, so that you're working through, thank you, all those clearings, you're working through the densities that are held within your chakras or in your bodies that are also in the collective, that you're also releasing about any subjugations about you doing so and being so and living so. And so it's always an equal experience of how it's threaded, how it participates, and how it entangles quantumly, and how the engagement goes back and forth quantumly at a micro-macro experience. Your now moment with your soul, your now moment with the galaxy, your now moment with the universe. It's always threaded. And so what we're talking about now is as we've been talking about so long, so all of our videos are always about daily self-care and daily self-awareness of who you are as spirit, so that you're harmonizing more and more as the highest vibration and light quotient of accelerating energies that you have the potential to carry on. We're in a huge time right now of these beautiful energies, thank you, Spirit, that's being offered to the planet, all of humanity, to gather in and carry on with these alignments to take on those packets of assimilation, to however you choose to work with Spirit, God, Creator, and your teams and your higher self and your soul, what's needed in that moment. That's why paying attention to your ascension cycle is really key. You wouldn't want to do that unless you were going through a healing. If you were going through like a dark night of the soul and you're healing, because sometimes those dark nights of the soul, all you can do is just enough to stay present, wake up the next day. Especially if you have children, I totally understand. I've gone through countless dark nights of the soul, for years and years and years at a time, dark night of the soul. And I had 2 kids, and every day my mantra to myself was that my children deserve the best of me. I deserve the best of me. So I'm going to move through this and allow myself the release and the healing and the grief work. And then allow myself the forgiveness and compassion and acceptance, and then go into the recreation in the now. Because you deserve to have a part so that you're not being lost in the emotional wounding that is that dark night of the soul experience, where you're accepting yourself as the darkest, if you will, and the most judged. And then you're allowing it acceptance, its grief, its loss, and being a part of your now story. And so that's why we have those experiences, because that allows us to release judgment that we have in our outer world. So what's really needed right now is the councils were telling me, the Chamber of Light, is that yes, they're amplifying these accelerations for the assimilation packets of light, and you can call on those assimilations for your unique needs. So again, if you're going through the dark night of the soul, you might just want to ask for, especially if you're going through a dark night of the soul and you're going through a heavy release period and you're really emotional, give yourself times of the day to feel those feelings and, face them and write about them and journal them and express them, experience them fully. Give yourself, but don't give yourself like the whole day to just continue processing over and over and over again, because then you get stuck in that loop. You can get stuck. That's what's called depression, is you get stuck in the loop of reliving the story over and over and over again. It's hard to get out of it. And so just allowing yourself that space and then getting out to create that routine, that new 5D routine that is out with Gaia and doing things that are different than you used to do before, because your body needs that juxtaposition and that trigger point to catalyze something new. Your cells need it, your brain synapses need it, all of you that you're training, and why you are the sovereign master of your new epicenter, to do that expression and exploration so that you're assimilating with the light package you've just received. So that is the same and as different as if you're not going through a dark night, so when you're going through this integration where you want to learn a lot, that stage of ascension, as we wrote about in our first book, is that's that awareness and awakening stage where you know that things are different than they were the day before, and you just want to start capturing as much information as possible. You just want to start seeking and investigating and discovering and exploring. That's where you create that expansive, remember, contraction, and expansion. So you're in this expansion stage. What can I do with all this energy I've just gained because I've just cleared a lot? You're recentering, you're harmonizing male and female, you're honoring who you are in this now soul moment, and now you want to reach out and start investigating and discovering and exploring. Those are those moments that will be directly in alignment, again, with, many of the timelines that you've been with and on, that your teams are now saying it's now ready for you to harmonize into this new experience and this new level that you've just maintained through your work and through your devotion and using the right use of will and the right use of power in the ways that you're desiring to in your teams and your higher self, so that everybody that you're threaded with, the threaded pearl, those that you're threaded with are also earning and gaining from your work in devotion to healing, the right use of will, the right use of power, all those things. So that's why stagnancy is really a detriment to evolution, because if that threaded pearl is not coming out of that evolutionary cycle, everybody that it's connected with falls behind and stays stagnant. So evolution is really important, especially in your family cycles and circles, to do whatever you can to break out of that stagnancy, break routine, break the mental routines that we're shifting from the planet. We're going through an upside down effect right now. And that upside down effect is many things. Quantumly, metaphysically, it's the rotation of the various shifts of the poles magnetically. It's to do with, symbolically, we're linking back to our earliest times of human experience and exploration to discover our oneness and our wholeness. And our oneness and our wholeness is what the Chamber of Light wanted to talk about today, is working through, knowing how to work through all of the changes and the challenges to know that you are supported infinitely, as we just talked about, the many counsels and teams and guides and beings that you have with you to call on, as well as Mother Father within you. And remember, the Mother Father connection is in all things, all life. So whether you're excited to create something new and explore something new, the Mother Father will show you exactly what you need to show you, just that excitement within your body. That's the alignment with Spirit. That's the sacred child. The sacred child is when you've harmonized the Mother and the Father energies of the Vesica Pisces, you then come forward as the sacred child. That's how you know you're ascending, and you're always in what we call the sweet spot, if you will, because that is about, are you aligned with your highest timeline, or are you aligned with your highest and your best? Because you know that you're feeling excited and adventurous about who you are, constantly in that curious stage about what's becoming of you and the reality. Your excitement then, the pearl threaded, helps others. So you're always in where you should be, if you will, because as long as you're serving your highest and your best, you will pull those energies for those that choose to. Remember, it's always free will. Your light is helping them because you're contracted at a soul level. And so they will feel that thread of light. And why you never have to worry, because that's all God's work. You don't have to worry about people coming with you or doing whatever they need to do. It's their choice. But it's sacrificing if you're not following your excitement and making the changes that you know within you that you need to make. Because that sacrifices others in the group as well. And so what they wanted to talk about today was the acknowledgement and the recognition of oneness, and what that really means, and how it's sought and felt and known and understood and experienced at all levels, and why we're going to talk about that today in the biosphere and totems, and how we can use this through the challenges and the changes that we're each going through, and how to feel into this 5D way of navigating, because it's really fun and it's so much miracle and miraculous magical experiences and mystery. That's what Spirit wants for us, is the mystery. You will never ever be, no one ever will be, ever. And this is why they wanted to get away with years and years ago about the prophets and things like that, because it's meant to be a magical ride, and about you surrendering into unconditional trust for you, and just knowing that every moment is meant to be magical. Every moment is meant to be a miracle. Every moment is meant to be, wow, what next? What next? That's how life should be. Just trusting yourself in that. And Spirit wants it to be, because each and every moment through free will, we all are creating these earths of great exploration and great dynamic experience and exploration for all of our consciousness level. The one consciousness is the all consciousness. So the more that we're accelerating, those particles, if you will, are accelerating in the same experience. And that's how we create the pearl threaded, where all of us are moving into this new experience. And the Gaia is moving into her experience, into this new cosmic bedding at the highest frequency that she can carry us in. She carries us in her movement into the equal opportunity that we are of our consciousness. That's why we said earlier, we just didn't finish it, that we see things moving in a different way when we have those experiences occur, like catastrophes or global events that seemingly take those from us, that, in sometimes collective ways. Those are all the experiences if they're all soulfully planned for an infinite number of reasons, and nobody can say what one reason is. Many of them are the shifting out of the vibrations and learning of the soul stories and what they came to learn and show, and what we came to learn and show. It's always that micro, macro, mirrored experience, and why you see the things unfold the way you do, and what is that experience and soulful lesson for you in oneness. And it'll always go back to oneness, always, always. And so things will unfold on our planet for an infinite number of reasons, and that's always God and the universe, and every soul that's involved has those intricate plans and weavings. And for us to go back into our hearts with compassion and oneness, and what it means for us individually and uniquely, that in and of itself opens up the heart chakra and allows that thread of oneness to create with all others on the planet. That's why those events occur. Most often than not, is to awaken the activation of oneness and compassion for one another. And of course, every soul chooses at a soul blueprint level, which is hard for many to understand. Every soul chooses and has the teams of Spirit and God that are always with them in any transition for any person on any life. There is always energy and spirits waiting for every person in any transition. And those spirits and the soul have chosen at the highest self level on their potentiations. depending on what's in the soul record. And so there's always that elegant experience, and we don't see it that way because we have such a negative experience about death, because we've been so separate from spirit. So the person in the physical body has that sometimes unconscious knowing, and sometimes the higher spiritual knowing, and the spiritual self and the soul self understands that it must transition into a different experience. That transition of a different experience might just take them to another earth, but we see it in the surrounding circle in something different, because their soul might want to go and finish the lesson doing something else. That soul might go into an ascension program and help with a collective of children that are just about to be born. So there's always, and this is what many people find, challenging to understand, is this, the beautiful and spiritual elegance of everything that comes and goes in the cycle of evolution. There is. And there's that, the very highest of knowing, there are those intricate experiences of potentiation, and it's the evolution and the cycle of life. There are infinite number of things, as we say. Anything that we say is not always every cut case for every person, because it isn't. Up until the very last minute, up until the very last minute of anything, there is always free will and spirit, and God will support it all, right? God supports it all. So those experiences that we move through, those challenges and those changes, are for the grand awakening of who we are as the collective, for those that experience it in the collective. So whether it's an earthquake or a volcano, those that are in the surrounding areas that are experiencing it and move through those experiences together are different than they are moving it through it somebody on the other side of the world that doesn't even know it's occurring. However, now that our hearts are being threaded as one, we're operating from this point now where you're being aware of everything on the earth and what's going on, because our hearts are being activated more and more as one heart. And there will be a lot of healing to be done on many of the collective, because there's so much of our collective with the heart chakras and the chakra systems that are simply imbalanced and shut down, because this is the upside down effect. We have been operating in our collective for eons in the mental ego mind space. The mental ego experience is completely different from the emotional experience. And that's where the intuitive bodies and everything are all tuned on. We, of course, have intuitions on the mental experience as well, of course. But when we are living as that experience of wholeness, mother, father, frequency, and the eternal child, and as we're harmonizing within our oneness, we're absolutely in balance and in harmony with all of our bodies: physical, mental, emotional, and etheric, spiritual. The emotional body is how we manifest, and why it's so important that we create that daily self-care so that all of our bodies are in alignment. We are nourishing and we are feeding the spirit from within, so that all that we are is a balanced operating epicenter of love and joy and excitement, so that we manifest the same, especially as we're accelerating, because that manifestation is going to come back and hit you. Wow, what was that? Because there was a belief there was operating in lack, and all of a sudden you got a whole bunch of stuff, it just got lacked. However lack can show it to you, it will show it to you. So that's why it's really good to do your daily self-care in the morning, throughout your day. Do your checkpoint, take your time with Gaia. I've got an activation going on right now. And do your clearing and your alignment, so that you're always in alignment of your highest and your best. And you know that you are, if you're in the vibrations of excitement and joy. But that you've always got that support. You've always got that support from those, and just ask for that, those experiences, just reach out and say, I'm going through a lot right now. And just tell your kids, I used to tell my kids, I'm going through a release. So sorry if Mummy's a bit, discombobulated, just be patient with me. I'm going through a release, and just be open with them so that they can also express and experience themselves going through release. As soon as you express your release and ascension cycle, that you'll feel and just tune in to when your kids are going through theirs, because you're all connected. And so what we wanted to talk about in today's show and episode, which will be really fun, is, and those of you that would like to donate, our keys are below. So we thank you so much. We're so happy to have you with us. So excited. Thank you. Crystalline, and somebody, anybody out there that feels excited to look into the crystal tourmaline, there's somebody out there that needs some beautiful crystalline insight by tourmaline. So they're just showing me the tourmaline crystal for any of you that would like to do crystalline work. So we understand that our planet is a beautiful experience within the galaxy, and she's moving based on our consciousness. She carries us, and she has been waiting for humanity to awaken. She is capable of the most profound consciousness for us to recalibrate and assimilate with the highest potentiation. And in her recalibration, because her recalibration is based on us and we are based with her. So as we awaken, as we inspire who we are, she then brings in all of these light packets, if you will, and begins to assimilate in her process of ascension. She has an ascension cycle just like we do. We are all connected, it's all one. And so in these experiences of assimilation through these light packets that are all being offered, and as you're doing your work, releasing, and you're in your moment, staying in the highest experience of joy as you can, and just allowing yourself to rest and nourish yourself and love yourself, and really honoring your body and your vessel and your fields, then you're allowing for that reciprocation and alignment with Gaia in your highest and your best. And you'll always be where you need to be. So don't ever place a goal on it because you can't, because you might have densities in your chakras that just will not be rushed. You know, just know that your acknowledgement and intention and devotion to feel good, to feel better, to feel healed, that is your devotional plan to moving in the best and smoothest way for you. Because every person going through ascension will have their own unique temperament and pacing, as we've written about in our books. So it's never meant release all of the egocentric experiences about competition and all of those experiences, because your path is unique to you. Your soul's gifts, your journeys, adventures are all unique to you, and that's why your gifts and your skills and your wisdoms will all be linked in that way. And so in that, Gaia has all of these experiences that we're now able to assimilate with, because we're now asking for it. We're now taking sovereignty. We're now taking self-guidance. We're now taking this upside down effect. It's no more mental stuff. That mental stuff will keep you trapped in that same cycle. To step out of it and become more emotive and intelligent with your emotions. I'm being intelligent and emotional. I'm understanding that I need to allow my emotions their freedom. I need to be aligned and present so that they have their space and I have mine to co-create. But I'm not going to be overrun by my emotions, and I'm allowing them their space to create in this world and feel tuned in to create in the world. And then I'm also emulating and radiating this is my best and highest, so that others can also see that, yes, I'm different, I'm unique, and I'm absolutely diverse to who I am as a multidimensional being now. I'm not going to be stuck in a mind rotation of, many of the clients that have come to me lately have said it seems so robotic, in the collective, because we see the difference now. When you come off that mental cycle, you absolutely see and feel the difference of how those programs were playing on your multidimensional fields, and you just get to release them because the fog is lifting. The heaviness and the density of the fear-based programs, the veils of our reality are lifting. They're not there anymore. And so many of us have been having some of these really crazy and great experiences. So I'm so happy you've shared them with me. And so some of the ways that we do that and assimilate with this great new light is, remember our earth. You have a unique earth that can experience yourself with the earth in your now moment of experience. You're constantly being pushed and pulled in that contraction and expansion of who you are as a growing particle of light, micro, macro, and so too is Gaia. So at any one moment, you can be experiencing a 3D earth. Next moment, you can be a 5D earth. So allow yourself that minutia of how we're shifting, and just as long as you're aligning in the highest and the best for you, what's your highest and your best. You're speaking of your truth. You're aligning with your uniqueness and your shininess, and be just holding it with grace and holding it with wonderment, because you're aligning with your unique earth. That's it. And everybody else will be where they're meant to be. And then you're allowing yourself that experience of that next activation and assimilation, and you know that everything is falling in alignment, because you're here to align yourself. You're here to call all that you are in alignment. It's like, like back in those days when they used to have those army movies, and they used to have the training camps, and there would be the leader at the head, and there would be, 50 or 60, sergeants just lining up to do their daily thing. And then the sergeant would call, okay, line up. And it would just be, that's what you are. You are your intention with Spirit, Mother, Father. You are lining all that you are up to be the oneness and the allness, and your epicenter working as one. And so just know that, have that knowing. Your name is that knowing. Your body is that knowing. Your consciousness is that knowing. Your chakras are that knowing. And nothing outside of you can thwart your destiny, can thwart your path, can thwart anything that you are. Nobody can take anything from you or thwart you or harm you or hurt you, because you are the master of your energy field. And as you're going through those really heavy releases, because they're always about fear fear and separation and all the wounds that are attached to that, because that's the lessons of the planet as a collective. You know that those will always be released back to those core foundational wounds, the psyche wounds. And so when you're going through, many of us have gone through so much extensive experiences through, you know, trauma, abuse, and those types of things, especially with various types of, you know, energy misuse and misuse of and abuse of energy that we've experienced. It's no different than the fear programs that are being offered. And so just know when you have that story that comes up to you and you're starting to awaken, how does that feel for me? Am I discerning what I feel about that? And reclaim all your power. Reclaim your power, reclaim your light, reclaim all of your energy, cut the cords, do a cord cutting every night. We say cord cutting that you're always going to be connected as one, but you're going to release yourself from the story of that limited vibration. And if there has been, you know, really abusive or traumatic experiences, then call in those teams, you know, once or twice a week to really do those deep healing recalibration chambers and releasing entities, releasing threads and cords to any of those vibrational stories to be done in the highest manner, to also clear all karmic stories in that those are included within. And so if you want to get in touch with me, my link is below. And we've done so many clearings and healings. And we're just realigning and reclaiming your power of sovereignty, because your consciousness is your responsibility. Your consciousness and your light and your fields are your responsibility. And that's by creating those self-conscious, self-loving, self-guided choices to disengage from drama and disengage from all that is, you know, caught up in the confusion and the mess. Disengage with it, because it plays with your energy field and it's not necessary. So disengage with what is complicated, confusing, and dramatic, fear-based, angry, negative aggression. So just detach and disengage, because your light and your vibration is paramount. It's paramount. And just continue that vibration of intention for you. I'm healing, I'm raising my vibration. I feel really great today, boy. I feel great, I feel great. And I know my vibration is adding to the collective, it's adding to the collective. And really rework in your journaling is so important, because your journaling allows you to see your mastery and you're growing in that contraction expansion, how you could have dealt with something in a different way. And that's how you see your true mastery, is when you're doing your journaling. That's you and God saying, wow, you really did a great work today, and celebrate yourself every day. But one of our best and highest experiences that we wanted to offer really, really quick, I mean, I did this in a 3-hour class, so we're going to condense it, is the biosphere. The biosphere is connected with so much of our intuitive connectiveness and how we're assimilating to our new 5D Earth. The biosphere is about all of the major and minor and elegant systems, the life within life, the light within life, of the systems of who we are, a spirit, the elements, and the physics, the psychic and the physic realm are all meshed together. The physics and the psychic realm is the spirit and the science of God, the God creator, the Elohim, and the many of the realms that co-create life. And so as we're being activated, as we're being accelerated, you're doing your assimilation and your healing at night, and however it is that you choose to work with yourself and your teams and your higher self. So get in tune and connect with them. Or if you'd like an appointment with me, we can work on a vocational plan for you. And just moving yourself in this experience of, wow, there's so much more that's opening up to me. I'm seeing things in a different way than I used to see. And the veils of illusion are being lifted. You know, it's like the ends of the Wizard of Oz movie, where the voice that was in the recording of all of these things, that you give your power away and say, okay, we're following you, and this is the big voice that we're doing. But at the end, it was just this guy behind a curtain while talking into a microphone. So those are the things that we're realizing and understanding. Where do you give your power away? What choices do you think you have? And let's just flip it upside down. Reclaim all of your power. Create and understand that you are an emotional, mental, physical, etheric, spiritual, multidimensional being from many planets, from all worlds, all forms. And we're here to release all limitations that hold us back in being so, living so, and creating so, and then manifesting so. So you're infinitely abundant. How we connect with the abundance of our world is through Gaia. So we each have chakras, and those chakras are in the alignment of all that we are in a multidimensional way. Make no mistake about that. Our chakras are so beautiful and eternal. It is how we create the beautiful experience of who we are as a multidimensional soul, along with many other things. Again, you cannot create this in only one class. So if you wanted to book private sessions and classes with me, please get in touch, because there's far more than we could ever say that are involved in the micro, macro, the elegant systems that is God creator. The biosphere is how our planet is held together with the beautiful infinite systems of life that are aligning specifically with how we nourish and we heal and we love ourselves and expand within the systems that is Gaia. It's one of the main priority experiential systems, like our endocrine system. You can't leave the endocrine system out. We just can't. It's just like the biosphere. We can't leave that out of how we are maneuvering through and in as 5D. Much of our gifts that we are moving through acceleration and ascension will be through the living through the biosphere experience. And we're getting in touch with water and air and the root systems of trees and flowers and flora, fauna, wildlife, connecting with how you communicate with nature, animals, insects, everything. There's nothing that's left out. This is why it's so incredible, and it's so much juice. There's so much satisfying experience and fulfilling experience for someone, especially an empath and a conduit and a Christ conduit, because we're directly connected with the elements of the fibers that is spirit, the fibers that is life. And just to give you an example, how the biosphere works, and we're going to talk about totems within the biosphere really, really quick. We're going to really try and keep this as short as possible. Yesterday, I was watching this beautiful video about space and these new things that are going on in space in our galaxy and the cosmos. And I was asking God, I was just like looking in awe at this one tiny, as much as this Hubble deep space experience can offer, this one snapshot, if you will. And you just think about that one snapshot. It's like looking through, one of those, it's just like that one point. Everything else is still there. So when you're looking through this one thing that the Hubble caught this one picture on, that was, rarely pictured. I think it was one of the most rarest pictures that has just recently come out. And in this experience, and I was saying, like, I was just amazed, and I was just going, oh my gosh, God, like, what did you, how do you know what you're creating when you're creating it? And it's so elegant and perfect and profound. And like how do you keep track of it all? Like, all these galaxies, billions, literally billions, billions in just this one known universe. And then there's like a multiverse. And God says, well, I don't keep track. I just know I am. And I was just like, and God, and thank you, God. And so God is talking to me, and so like point blank, matter of factly, we're just having a coffee and sitting at the table. So what do you think God would create today? God was just saying, well, lots, here we go. Here's just a snapshot of this one picture of space. And I'm just like constantly, that's how our minds are just so limited in this little bucket, right? I'm in my bucket of my body, and my mind is just like, well, God, you just created like 700 galaxies. How do you do that? How do you keep track of them? What's that one called? What's that one called? What does that one do? What does that one do? Here's a little girl in a candy shop like me. Like, what do I get? What do I get? What do I do? What do I do? And I'm so excited to connect in all of these different ways that I'm now seeing and experiencing things. And God was just like, well, I don't. I just do. I am. I'm there. I'm here. I'm there. I'm everywhere. And I'm just like, okay. And the ego mind wants to kind of think about it. It's just like, well, as we do, the people that study the galaxies and the stars, they've got names and numbers to it. Star 1078-12993. We have to logically and linearly and put it in catalogs and things like that. And God just say, no, I know what that is. I'm there. It's me. I am. And so that just gives you an idea of that is how we are now moving into the I am. The I am is all things and is all things. It's the water, it's the droplets, it's the leaves, it's the trees, and that is just where you are in that moment. You are a particle of all that is spirit, anywhere, allwhere. That's just yes and all. But there is obviously as well. We live in 352 dimensions in this universe. 352. So your consciousness and awareness of where you are right now, your presence now, your presence now, your presence now, although yes, you are in all places and you're all spaces, if you will. You can only understand to the point of your consciousness awareness. It's possible and potential, but you have to be willing to let go of the densities that hold you back in linear, space-time, all that kind of stuff. Because those are still perspectives of linearity and 3D dimensional experience. So once you release all of those patterns of limitation, again, the mental body, then you start living within the emotive body. And you're like, wow, I can feel into all things. What does that mean? This is where your emotional body and you being as the intuitive of the emotional body will then start showing the mental body, wow, there's a lot more than I thought. This is why your mental body cannot get you there. That's why we have to flip it upside down. This is what we've been going through the past 3 months, the upside down effect. Flip it upside down, because things that are happening in your reality are showing you, flip it upside down. It's not about what you think, it's about what you feel. We are emotive, dynamic, vibrational beings of light. We're meant to live as light in light in light in light. The mental body will catch up, but we got to be there first through our feelings and our emotions. and our vibrational intelligence through our infinite intuitive experiences with Gaia. We are physical, biophysical, physics, and spirit. We are spirit and science meshed. Spirit and science meshed. Our bodies could not survive without spirit. Our spirit's everywhere. To the point of our consciousness awareness, which is, it has to do with the mental body as the tool of that, but your consciousness is all that God wants you to place in if you're so willing, right? Do you know that of God? Do you know that of yourself? Do you know that of all that you are and the makeup of all that you are? So as the galaxy, 95723-129 just got discovered, God's like, I am, and there's 50 more just where that came from yesterday that we haven't even looked at. See what we're saying? So the mental body can't take you there. You're trying to spend the time cataloging and all of that stuff. Let it go. We can look in the now of the I am, and the I am will just be like mind-boggling. Whoa. And the best way to get there is the biosphere, because it's showing you how to intuitively move about who you are now in the I am presence of God now. You walk in a forest and you're intuiting more than just one experience. Those of us that are conduits and channels, you can experience the whole realm of Gaia singing to you all at once. Boom, 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 boom. So seeing a spirit there. And so this is the importance of the biosphere and how it's assimilating with our new now moment of assimilations, gifts and skills being turned on, how we communicate as multidimensional beings. And again, what the children require of us most is to activate these experiences and empower, inspire, and encourage them to be in nature as often as possible, to get these activations, to get these codes, to get them back into the upside down where they're actually allowing themselves to be the emotive beings and releasing them out of the mental programs that are just robotic, living in that same routine of experience, shutting themselves off from all that is the emotional, intuitive experience of spirituality. Spirituality having nothing to do with religion, but also encompassing it. Yes, of course. There's nothing that's left out of the game of separation taught us about all that separation. No, it's all. The all, that's God said, I am. I am the galaxy, but I'm that tree sitting there. Right? But we have been clouded and veiled in density that has been the mental program and the fear programs. And that has been through the mental body. Mental body, mental body, mental body. The beliefs that the mental body holds have been directing the health of our bodies. So we got to flip it upside down now. No. I want to feel good, therefore I am. I want to feel excited, therefore I am. I want to feel a part of the planet, therefore I am. I am an emotive psychic being. I am that I am that I am that I am. And my body is healthy. I am that I am. My cells are just reorganized. My cells are creator light. I'm creating with those that want to create in this way. I'm talking with the planet right now. I am that I am. 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 I'm all things, now and before and always. And you release that mental density. Get yourself out of the mental density. Drop your consciousness to your center. Be present. I'm feeling how I feel right now. I feel really excited. I feel really excited. And I'm peaceful and I'm present and I'm still. You just feel yourself soften into spirit. You can shape shift and be that beautiful essence and that little fairy that's in the forest. And you can be that part of that galaxy that just got created. And how we do that, and part of the way that we communicate through the biosphere, the nature elements and the wildlife elements, is through Gaia. We call them totems. Totems are the multidimensional communication and symbolisms that we call forward through our greater consciousness, spirit, God, and Gaia all working together, along with our teams and our celestial teams. Your celestial teams work with you in all ways. Make no mistake about it. They're helping you heal at night. So if you want to take direction and beautiful ownership with them of your body and your healing, ask for what you want healing to focus on, the highest and best. They'll always do the top and the most relevant healing first. Always. With your celestial teams and your guides and your higher self, it will always call forward, as we wrote about in our books, the highest of relevance. Not necessarily what you want. It will be what you need. And that's how spirit works. It's always about what is needed, most relevant, highest and the best for the greater good. And so your service to the greater good might be in this. So that means that spirit and your teams will be working on the greatest and the highest and best based on what is relevant for you and your role here and what you're meant to explore and have fun with. And so in this, it's about the understanding your communication with all things that are spirit, science and the spirit all together. Physics of science, biochemistry of science, all that is spirit matter in matter. We do that by the co-creation and calling forward what we call totems. And totems are an infinite number of things, if you will, and experiences that are energy. They're messages of energy and energy and messages that come through in a form. It could be a snake, it could be a tree, it could be an insect, it could be the plant, it could be a flower, it could be a song, it could be the wind rolling. Those are totems. The totems of nature are the multidimensional communications that we co-create. We manifest it. We manifest it from sometimes a subconscious, conscious, superconscious experience. Because now that we're releasing all that subconscious density of our lack of acceptance, we're now fully accepting ourselves more and more because we're now conscious of everything more and more. The more that you are conscious of yourself, you have greater access to call in whatever that you want because you know you're conscious with it all. Just as we said earlier, our individual consciousness efforts and states are the individual collective micro-macro being mirrored, and why things unfold because our collective experience is accelerating and things need to be uplifted to show us what our acceptance levels are, what our judgment levels are, where are we still being in separation. It's always about oneness, always. It will always be about oneness. That's why we're here, to release all of the mental programs that kept us separate, in fear of lack of who we are, of health, of abundance, and just keep rotating on this infinite cycle that you go nowhere with. The same routines, the same programs, the same. Keep working to keep working to keep working to keep working. So those cycles, they empower us because they're programs that feed into certain things. And those programs want to keep surviving. They're not going to survive if you're not paying attention and feeding it. Remember, it's always about supply and demand when it comes to energy. Once you're returning your energy to now, and I'm feeding my own source, I'm feeding my own spirit, I'm feeding my own spirit's got its own creativity, I'm feeling really great, I feel great, that's the emotional body feeling really great, then you totally release those and they're not even there. That's when you shift reality. This is what we call timeline jumping. You're releasing what you were attached to in those experiences. You just got to release attachments. I know that that's a story, but I don't want that story anymore. It's boring. So you let it go. And then you start investing and directing your energy into what really makes you feel good. Remember, it's feeling upside down. How we do that is getting more and more connected with the symbolisms and the totems that are everywhere, because it's spirit, just like the galaxy in the video that I saw. That was the totem that I needed. Your spirit will call these things in, and that is your multidimensional potential. Right that moment, when you see that totem, everything is a totem, everything basically. The ones that usually really stand out are the ones that your teens and your conscious and your soul are really trying to get to you, whether it's just a hello from a nature animal, because in another lifetime you were a shaman, you want to remember that, and you're bringing those gifts on for activation, whether it's just a quick hello from a bird because God loves you and you love you and all that is nature loves you, reminding you of your bird family on the Pleiades. Whatever those totems are at the minute, those are the ones that really remind you and awaken you to the upside down, because now you're living upside down. And that's what you want. You want the upside down right now. The upside down means that you're paying more and more and more attention to how you feel is your body, the connectedness that you have in nature, connectedness you have of all life, of all love. You're paying attention to the synchronicities that spirit is always placing before you, because you are. It's you. It's you and you. You are the bird that's flying by that you just noticed. See what we're saying? As I said to God last night. So they're showing me that I was having that conversation to God last night. God was saying that I was in the galaxy with them, creating it, so that the next day I would be sitting in my human body saying, wow, God, did we see that? And God was like, yeah, we're just having tea, saying, yeah, I am. You see, we put those totems where we need them to remind us of our oneness within it. Remember, it's always oneness. There may be those oneness experiences where you have to reflect and you have to focus on that level of oneness and say, well, let's just have a few moments of compassion for those people that just lost their lives. So that you're always remembering the compassion. You're always remembering how their souls and their lives were absolutely perfect, and they were in that experience of that's what their souls were written and required to do for whatever they needed. And it's up to only them and God to do, to minutia that. It's up to no other person to say that's what that was for, because nobody can. It's only up to that soul and God to say that's the reason, because we have no idea what their soul was just about to step into, step off of. We have no idea. And it's up to no one to do that. Nobody would want to, right? We want that because we've just had this experience with death as being so negative and desperate, right? But it's always a very sacred experience. The evolution of anyone's soul is sacred. It's very sacred. And nobody outside of anyone's soul can determine what things are for. We can ponder and we can postulate, but it's only the soul and God that says that was perfect divine timing for me. The soul has an infinite number of experiences to move into whatever it needs to move into. That's how now we're becoming. Because I've been timeline jumping for the past 6-7 months. I'm here, I'm there, I'm here, I'm there. For me right now, I don't recognize years or times anymore, because I can feel the vibrational difference. See what we're saying? It doesn't matter. The minutia of it will only matter to the God. And usually that's done at the highest of experience. And when you're in that soul review and what's coming next, in your higher states of consciousness, you can know, I can sense right now that my teams are with me in a meeting right now. We're discussing something that we're going to be exploring. So your teams and your higher self and your soul knows, because again, it's so elegant, and I can go on. There's hours that we could talk about this. Anytime you're going through a really big experience, a really big challenge and change, this, because it's connected with 5 or 10 or 20 or 1,000 other experiences that must fall in alignment with that pearl threaded. And again, it's always for the greater good. And that is why God is God. That galaxy need to be created because boom, 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 that other stuff had to occur. God knows. So that's why it's not for any one person or any one thing to postulate the reasons why of anything. Let's just surrender it to spirit and say all is perfect in all moments. And the challenges are meant to show us the highest level of compassion, highest level of acceptance, highest level of oneness, and how we can move through those challenges and changes together. We're meant to move through the evolution of life, and it doesn't have to be desperate and fearful as we've experienced it through the separation programs, the mental programs. When you open your heart to oneness, you absolutely know that any being that has ever crossed or will ever cross, you have absolute immediate access to them. When you're living in your heart space, all the beings that have crossed that I have known in my life, that I've had such a connection with, and even in other lifetimes, obviously, right? Because I know there's beings that are in my field right now that have crossed like 2,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago. So time is irrelevant. You see what we're saying? So the all I am right now is so amazing. And we do so by this crisscrossing of dimensional threads, if you will, through our experience of communication, through the highest vibration that we can, through love in our nature and our wildlife and our planet, because it's the highest vibration of our consciousness link that we have. As above, so below, as the heavens, and we are the bridge of ascension. We are that link, and the biosphere is how we minutiae and navigate these new gifts and skills that are turning on, and why it's so exciting. And you can have an infinite number of fun with it. So anticipate fun, anticipate excitement, anticipate adventure, anticipate you getting curious about who you are in the world that you live in, and how the world talks to you, how God talks to you, how you communicate things with you, and the things that you see that might seem tragedies. View them as the experience of oneness and what it's meant to show you, and honor you in your oneness of it. You're experiencing it as an unfolding of spirit. Spirit, however that spirit was manifesting. What was your consciousness level, and how can you create the radiance of love and compassion and forgiveness? The more that you do that, you're aligning with, oh my gosh, wow, I'm one with everybody. And you're aligning with that highest version of you, because it's always about acceptance. Always. Because it's a soul fragment of you. You release judgment immediately. Wow, I went through something really horrible. I'm giving myself more compassion. Why didn't I realize that yesterday? I'm going to give myself compassion for that. Wow, thank you. And I'm offering my love and compassion for those that, perhaps lost a family member. And you open your heart to what is meant to be. And that's when the mental and the ego programs just fall away, and you don't even remember them anymore, because it's like, wow, this is so much more rich. And that's why we said earlier, when the masters had showed me that the 5D portal, the 5D portal is the excitement of joy. And this one experience that we had, I was doing a ceremony on my land one year. And many of the totems come to us as dragons and Sasquatch or Bigfoot, which are absolutely real experiences of consciousness and matter. They're not here on this planet. Yeah, consciousness, Sasquatch and Bigfoot, yes, they're here on this planet, and they go in and out of dimensions. They know how to travel interdimensionally. Dragons and unicorns, they're not seen anymore, but they are absolute energy beings and physical beings that come in and out of our consciousness, for those of us that can see them and talk with them and be with them. The consciousness on the collective right now is not high enough for them to return, but they will return. Dragons and unicorns will return. I have an aspect of me on the unicornian dimension, along with many others. They're with me right now. I've always loved unicorns. When I was doing a ceremony out at the trees one time, and it was near, I think, spring equinox, and I was doing this ceremony. When I was going through, and I was just sitting in this presence, and I was sitting at the tree right here, my teams, and I was sitting like this, and I was just taking pictures of the sky and the trees around me. And my team said, just take a picture, put your camera up and just take a picture of what's behind you. And then so I did. And I was just, making grace and presence with the land and doing my sacred ceremony. And then I went back inside, and I was making dinner for the kids or whatever. And then I went back, and when I was relaxing and I looked at the pictures, I saw this hand, this really, really skinny stick-like hand that was coming out, and it had really long fingers. and it had like a long robe cape, and it was holding its arm out, just behind me. And it was showing a portal to all of the beings that were on the other side of it, watching me create this portal of sacredness with the land. And they were watching me, and they were observing me in that beautiful experience. And I was like, wow, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. And we those are totems as well. We are totems for them. They're communicating with us through our connection with land and our reverence and our honor and our humility with the land and how much we love the land. And so when you're in those sacred moments of exploration and ceremony with the land, you'll have beings and experiences of multidimensional co-creation that at the highest super conscious level, you say, yeah, come and join me. I'm going to have a ceremony tomorrow. And you can create a portal for the children to watch, and the children watch you, how you commune and remember yourself with the land, and remember all the elements of your connectedness with the land, and just create that love and that oneness. And again, it's all about oneness. And so we are totems for them. We are totems for other beings that watch us observe ourselves coming into oneness. It's a very exciting journey for them. And so another thing that we're going to say, part of this 5D journey is to create that emotive experience, that upside down expression, and which is more creativity. So how can you infuse more creativity into your life? Start really logging and documenting your ascension. Really take pride in it. It's a really sacred journey. Take pride in your experiences with spirit. Take pride in your symbolisms with spirit. Take pride in who you are as a symbol of spirit. And really start honoring that new connection and that new 5D. Beautiful co-creation, because you are the beautiful joy of spirit, and you're loved and you're honored dearly for your expression of asking and seeking and acknowledging yourself as beautiful evolutionary contraction, expansion of light and love. And so honor it and take value of it and log it and be grateful with it and take pictures and really take excitement of this, because other beings on other realms, as they showed me yesterday, or it was this morning, I don't know, but they were saying, we find this so fascinating. You're coming into your state of allness that we've known forever, like just if we're walking through the mall, right? That's our normal experience. They've always been awakened. So us going through the state of not being awakened to awakened, and then seeing the expression of spirit everywhere, the totems of spirit everywhere, we are even totems, they're finding it so fascinating. And it's such an experience of sacredness, of becoming with our greater family of all that is light. So really honor it. It's a sacred, sacred, sacred journey. And so just fall in love with it. Fall in love with the excitement and the curiosity and the rediscovery of you. And we love you so much. Those of you that would like to donate, we love all of your connections and your co-creations. So please feel free to donate. We love you so very much. Know that everything before you is spirit and God, and I am that I am. And spirit co-creator, the essence of source is everywhere within you and without. So start playing, start asking, start seeking, start awakening to the beauty of who you are. And that is that micro macro being shown to you right there. And you feel that, you feel the embodiment, you feel your experience of life. That's ascension, when you're feeling yourself as all things. And you're just being present, and you're just observing the beautiful feeling of just being present. Feel yourself in life again. That is the upside down effect. When we were shut off from feeling, now we're awakening to the beauty and the reverence and the discovery of feeling ourselves brand new as spirit. It's so beautiful. As we feel and awaken, micro, macro, the whole universe. And that's why I was so excited about last night. These galaxies that were just being boom, 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 boom. And I was in awe, like, how do you keep track of that, God? Like, and God was just like, yeah, we got that. You guys just woke up. That's what happens. That is evolution. Make no mistake about that. So excited. So thank you so much, the divine and the heavenly. Thank you for being with us always. And we love you so much. Bye, everybody. Bye.